It's not just having sex all the time. 60 to 70% of my time is sat on a laptop, replying to messages, making custom videos.
In certain parts of the internet, Bonnie Blue is one of the most famous people. The 26-year-old from Nottingham in Britain has taken over TikTok feeds, Instagram Reels and YouTube Shorts with content that isn't exactly family-friendly. Her challenges, as she calls them, made her a lot of money on OnlyFans, a British website where customers pay performers directly. OnlyFans has shaken up an industry with a dark side.
OnlyFans is up for sale. How much is it worth?
So apparently OnlyFans is on the block for about $8 billion. We haven't got the latest financial data from them, but the last time they reported, they were making revenues of about $1.3 billion. Their operating profit was comparable to any big tech firm. So yes, this is an adult content streaming website, but it's also an incredibly large, fast-growing business.
So how does OnlyFans work? How does it make its money?
So OnlyFans is not like the traditional online porn firms. So traditionally you had these things called tube sites where anyone can upload content more or less, and more or less anyone can watch it. And they relied on advertising to make money. As you can imagine, it's hard to make money off advertising. Not everyone wants to advertise on a porn site. So what OnlyFans does, it's got basically a subscription model. You've got a few million creators and then a few million subscribers, and they pay to see the content posted on the platform. On top of that, they can pay tips, they can pay for bespoke content, they can, pay to chat to their favorite content creator. And this is a really good way of making money, because what OnlyFans can do is they can keep 20% of the revenues, hand 80% to the creators, and you're finally finding a way to actually be profitable as a porn site. You're not relying on advertising, and you've got a clear stream of revenues.
So you're talking about content creators, the people who are performing the porn. How much do they make?
So it's not even. There's some few creators on OnlyFans who make a huge amount of money, and then a long tail of creators who make almost nothing at all. Perhaps the most famous person is Bonnie Blue. She's been kicked off the platform recently, but when I interviewed her, she told me she made $250,000 in March through these stunts that she does. And when I spoke to her, what really came across is that this is a business that she runs. She's really a businesswoman. That said, it's a pretty difficult business, because in order to get the subscriptions she needs to make this much money, she's clearly aware that she has to make content that's controversial, that gets people's attention. And here's a clip.
It's not just having sex all the time. 60 to 70% of my time is sat on a laptop, replying to messages, making custom videos. Got videographers, photographers, people that help with editing when it comes to my 12-hour-long videos. When I make TikToks, I preempt the backlash videos, because it's the backlash videos which push it to go viral. Because the men that sleep with me, some of them make TikToks and social media posts about it. A lot of them don't. It's the wives and the women that sit there and will make more TikToks about me, which pushes it to a wider audience. So a lot of the time when you're making viral content, it's more playing off the backlash than it is the positive feedback.
Avantika, Bonnie at least sounds like she's pretty much in control of what she's doing. She's got a lot of agency. But we know that there's a darker side to this, don't we? We know that there's the potential for creators to be exploited, for minors to be exploited, for minors to access the content, or for content to be illegal and inappropriate. So how has OnlyFans addressed those sorts of issues?
Yeah, of course, there's a lot of research about how vulnerable a lot of these people are. You call them porn stars. A lot of them are just amateurs who are doing this, just to try and make ends meet. They're vulnerable people. At the same time, there's, a lot of data, a lot of research about the number of young people nowadays who access porn by mistake. They access it as young as 13, on social media sometimes, not even on, official porn sites. And the thing with OnlyFans is it's not perfect, but because it makes money, it's actually able to put some basic security checks in place. So in the UK and some other jurisdictions, they have sort of an age verification system that scans your face, and you have to be above a certain age to make an account and access content on OnlyFans. On the side of the creators, it can take 24 to 72 hours to open a creator account on OnlyFans. They have real people who sit there and do background checks on new creators, look at ID, look at their other social media accounts, make sure that they're not, AI impersonators, make sure that they're not, lying about their age, things like that. So they sound like very basic checks, but they are things that OnlyFans does that really not every adult content site does.
But that kind of content creation still needs policing from the outside as well, doesn't it?
Two ways that this content is policed. First, regulators, and I'm afraid a lot of the rule books are quite out of date, but also through payment providers. If you are taking payments for a site like OnlyFans, you don't want to be caught up in a massive scandal around, child pornography or people trafficking and so forth. So, just this week, Sweden introduced new rules, and the new rules mean that if you're paying for adult content, videos, photographs, you could face up to a year in prison. You can see the policymakers trying to shift, OnlyFans, I told you about the age verification systems they have in place, but they were actually fined by Ofcom, the British regulator, earlier this year for basically misreporting what they were doing in terms of age verification. It went pretty much unnoticed, but earlier this year, the UK government also had an independent report published on the state of the porn industry. After that, they have announced a ban on strangulation in porn. So you can see the policy environment changing. It's not good enough. It's very hard to enforce. But there is some sort of, ongoing shift in the rules around these platforms.
And who will want to buy OnlyFans?
This is a really interesting question. It's not a normal business. For a lot of investors, it's totally, untouchable, off limits. But there are, of course, some investors that are interested, and that's what's coming out in these leaked reports about a deal. And, $8 billion sounds like a lot of money, but in many ways it's not. If you think of OnlyFans as a marketplace, compare it to, say, Uber or Airbnb, at $8 billion, that's quite a sort of a small multiple for the firm. In fact, if it was being sold at a multiple more comparable to Airbnb or Uber, it would be valued at about $28 billion. That's just sort of a back of the envelope calculation. So, not everyone's going to be willing to buy a firm like that. But if you're not squeamish and you're willing to get involved in porn, you could end up with sort of a bargain on your hands.